Hey, what is happening, folks? It is Jimmy G in the place to be, bringing you back another amazing, wonderful, stupendous, awesome, amazing, wonderful, stupendous, I am in a loop episode of The Good, the Bad, the Awesome, where we talk about, unbox, give my first reaction of all things pop culture, mainly Transformers, Star Wars, anime, McFarlane figures sprinkled in with the occasional convention or two and other things too as well. So if this is your first time here and you are going, this sounds interesting, then go ahead, hit that like and subscribe button. It only helps support the channel. And if you've been here before, thank you. And I want to say thank you first of all to everyone out there. We have hit our milestone of 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year, so that is awesome. So look out. At the beginning of the year, we're going to have our 1,000 subscriber giveaway, and we may do it as a live. So look out for the announcements and the advertisements for that. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to wrap up our series on anime. As you all know, this past week we were at YamaCon in Pigeon Forge and had a blast. We saw cosplayers. We saw all sorts of stuff. We saw people. We got autographs and things like that. And so we're going to wrap up this anime week with an anime figure, but not just any anime figure, a KO of an anime figure. So I've done this one time before, and it was for a Prime Commander, Star Commander, or something like that. It was a Nemesis Prime that I got off of Amazon, which was a KO of another one. Now, of course, there are third-party tributes and stuff like that of like Transformers and stuff that I like from New Age, other companies and things like that. But this, what I'm going to review today, is a KO. I got it off of Temu, and some of you are like, oh my God, Temu, you just said a bad word. Well, you know what? I couldn't help it. It was a great deal, and I want to do this so you can see, is this a good quality? Does this live up to like the original, to the other stuff or whatever? Or is this just a bad knockoff? Now, I know I'm not here to stand on the philosophy of whether you believe KO is great or not, or if it's, you know, something you should support or not support. I'm here just to show you the quality of a KO product. And we're going to be looking at Attack on Titan's Levi Ackerman today. So let's go back to my lab and let's take a look. And here it is right here, folks. And this is the KO of the Figma action figure of Levi from Attack on Titan. Now, as y'all know, Attack on Titan just wrapped up its final season, and they just announced when the English voiceover, English dubbed version of the final episode of Attack on Titan's coming on. But it has been an amazing 10-year ride for that series, and one of my favorite characters was Levi Ackerman. So one day I was on the website Temu, just kind of looking around, looking for a nice Christmas shirt, and this came up as a deal that was too good to pass up. And I'm going, is this really going to be a good figure? Because the way I know this is a KO, and we'll go over that here in just a moment, is the price was a little too good to be true. It was like, this was, I think it was like, I paid $18 for this figure. Now for a Figma figure, you're typically going to pay anywhere from like 80, 90, 100 bucks for one of these figures. But this was $19. So too good to be true. Now, the reason why I bring this up is not only do you find these on Temu, but you got to be careful on eBay, at conventions and things like that. So I'm going to show you a real looking box. I'm going to just put a picture of it in the top there, and this is a fake. So some of the things that tells me this is a fake, first of all, just the resolution of the pictures and stuff on here, a little bit blurry, but also you don't get a lot. You should have like a sticker here that just kind of tells you what it is, you know, like a kind of a certificate of authenticity. So you may have one that says Funimation, or I forgot what the other one says. Also Max Factory, you may see that on here too as well. So there's some labeling on this box that we are missing. Plus, look at this. It's already kind of like just misshapen and shaven here, so like it was just kind of just thrown all together in the box on this, so it doesn't look like anything there. And then you got this kind of right here, just kind of telling you a little bit about where it's from, and just this I can tell you right now, is not a legitimate. Now, when you go to a convention or when you buy on eBay, you want to look for certain things like the label. You want to look at the image on here should be a higher resolution. But there's a lot of different things. So as you can see from that picture, that will show that this right here, this one's a knockoff versus the legitimate. And like I said, a legitimate Figma Levi Ackerman figure probably going to be running you about $100. You can also tell by looking at the figure here, and we're going to get that out too as well, and we're going to see some things about it. But this is the box, all crushed, came in a plastic package of Levi Ackerman. So let's do this. Let's get it out of the box right now. Let's do it. Folks, here is everything out of the box, and it's in a pile. Why? Because I can already tell you right now, this thing is a pile of, well, we'll just save it as I share some stuff with you. So again, like, I'm not here to justify why you should buy a KO versus not a KO versus the real thing. I'm not here to say, hey, I'm not getting into the political nature of KO. I just want to share with you, for those of y'all that went, you know what, I'm on Temu and this looks too good to be true. Is it? I'm here to share with you what my thoughts are on the KO figure that I got here. Now on Temu, they do sell like KO Transformers. They sell a lot of stuff that's KO. And if you don't know what KO means, it means knockoff. And so for me, one of my things that I kind of think is like, if you know, I know a lot of people out there can't afford to buy the real thing. Now, what I would say is if the real thing is out there and it's still in production, I would encourage you to buy the real thing that's in production. But if the real thing is expired, like for example, one of my favorite Transformers is the original G1 Sideswipe. Yeah, they don't make that anymore. So you're going to have to either A, find a vintage one that you're going to be paying hundreds of dollars for, or a KO one that if you just want to display it, that you can pay for less than that, around $30 or something like that. So that's what KO is here for, is saying, hey, you know what, if you can't afford it, try this one. It looks almost the same. Now, where I do hate KOs is when people try to pass them off as the real thing. Like when you go to a convention and they're like, oh yeah, this is a genuine Nendroid or a genuine Figma figure or whatever. You've got to look at the box and you got to know what you're looking for when you're looking between a real figure versus a KO figure. So definitely make sure you look at that. And also, you know, you never know. Make sure that box is sealed, because if that box isn't sealed, then you're going to want to check that figure too. So here's everything you get in the box with it. And we're going to go over some of the things. So one of the things that tells you that this is a KO Figma figure is the stand itself. So you get a stand here, and the normal regular Figma stand is going to have the word Figma on it. This does not. This does not have the word Figma. It just is a stand that is here for you to put whatever you want to. Now it works. It's a functional stand, whatever you want to do with it, but it's doesn't have the word Figma on it. Now you do get all the accessories and things like that too, little plastic pieces, all sorts of stuff. The swords actually look pretty decent. I mean, for being knockoff, these things look pretty cool, but everything just smells weird and feels cheap. The other thing too as well is it didn't come with any instructions. A lot of times your Figma figures have instructions on how to remove stuff and things, but look at this face. You can already tell just the paint job on that, the glossiness. It just does not feel right. The hands just, I mean, again, they just don't feel quality. This of course is the wire you get for the basically his ODM gear here that you can put on him to use. And this, I mean, again, this looks decent. There's no overspray or anything on this, but when you get to looking at the figure, that's where we're going to see some really, really crazy stuff. You also get his cloak of the Scout Regiment, Sasagio. Anyway, and you get some kind of little bluish effects here for it too as well, but you get all sorts of sets of hands. This is kind of cool. Something I like is that you can use this to put some of your extra figure hands on and stuff like that to kind of store it. I think that's kind of neat. But yeah, that's all the accessories you get, and then you get the figure itself. And here is Levi Ackerman himself. Looks cheap. And it feels cheap too, man. This thing feels horrible. I mean, from a distance, you can tell it's him. It's kind of like, you know, when you're out in public and you're like, is that like Denzel Washington walking down the street? And you get closer and you're like, it is not Denzel. So, you know, it's like if you, yeah. Anyways, it's if someone lied to you on their profile, on a dating profile, this is what this would be. So let's take a closer look at this figure. Let me go ahead and pop this up a little bit, and we'll start here at the face. And you can see that glossiness. You shouldn't have that glossiness. It's just really, really cheap, cheaply felt and cheaply built. It just, now, again, it has the movement and things like that, like a Figma figure should, but it's very loose. Loosey-goosey on here. The hands, the arms, everything just kind of looks different and weird on that. Now, I don't have a legitimate Figma figure to compare it with, but I have the next best thing, which is SH Figure Arts figures, which is actually a step down from Figma, and this doesn't even feel on par with that. I mean, even my $20 Anime Heroes figures actually feel a bit better. Now here, right here, look at that. Look at all that overspray. That overspray right there on the brown. I mean, that paint job is just horrible. Yeah, it's crazy. It's like Levi shat his pants. Sorry for the language there, folks. He sharted, and it's just all over the place. And I'll put a picture of the real kind of Figma Levi figure. You can kind of see just kind of from a comparison, but that just right there, it's just a very sloppy mess of overspray, and then everything's just kind of just off. Just off about it. Now, they did a really good job on the Scout Regiment here figure, and then of course you got the holes to where you can put this stuff at. But from an articulation standpoint, you do get some good articulation with this guy. I mean, you get the articulation you would get with a Figma figure, so to speak, and all the arm moves, that stuff there. You get the waist bend. You don't get the waist here that moves. You get the leg spin, twist, more than a 90 degree. You get the foot is on a ball joint, and then you got this right here. Oh gosh, see how tight that is? That's where it tells you. That's where I can tell you this is just cheap. And yep, that is it. That's what you got here. So you can get him in different poses and things like that if you want to. And so what we'll do is, let me see if I can get Levi standing here, kind of decent. Now I can get him standing pretty well. There you go. There we are. There is the commander of the, there's the captain of the Scout Regiment, Levi. Man, he is, from a character standpoint, he's one of my favorite characters in Attack on Titan. Just no holds barred. At first, I thought he was a jerk, but, you know, then I'm like, man, he's good at what he does. That's plain and simple, very good at what he does. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get him gussied up, and we'll compare him to some other figures. But before we do that, let me just show you from a height standpoint. Again, Ramen is out of the ballpark, and so we'll just show you from my YouTube studio phone right here, just the size. So we'll move it back so you can kind of see the size from my phone right there. So that's there, really kind of how big he is. But let me get him rotisseried so you can kind of see all the different angles. But yeah, I'm disappointed in that paint job right there. That paint job's horrible. It's horrible. Les Miserables. This is the miserable. Levi, let me get you standing. Let's get you looking. Let's get you gussied up a little bit, and let's compare you to some other figures that I have. There's the Levi we know and love. Has his Scout Regiment cloak on, his ODM gear, and his blades in hand. Now, the interesting thing about putting all of this together, getting him gussied up, some of it was easy, some of it was kind of tough. So for example, his little ODM gear here, this stuff, it does not want to stay into place, just it's loose. So it just kind of just is there. I should be able to just adjust these and keep them stationary. This side, great. This side, not so great. It is kind of a loosey-goosey thing. So I keep pushing it and it just keeps just kind of going loose. But on the back, you can see you can tab that in right there, the ODM stuff, and get it all in. You got all these wires all over the place that you have to kind of clean up. But he doesn't look too bad. Now, let me just say that. From a distance, he doesn't look bad. It's just when you get close up, that's when it kind of just gets bad looking. But I do like the fact he does have a lot of accessories. These two parts peg in here. The ODM gear on the back here pegs in right there. And then these two things peg into the legs. Now, like I said, it just is not wanting to stay steady on this side. This side's good. This side's not so good. So if I want it to match, I'm just going to have to pop that down a little bit. These kind of cables, you got to kind of cable manage those a little bit, get them out of the way. But yeah, other than that, that's all I got to say about all this stuff. Now, the cool thing is you get all these effects like this right here. You can kind of hang them from certain things. This, you can have it shooting. This is a wire that you can have shooting where he wants to go. These can have shooting out too as well. So this can stick into here because this looks like it's shooting out to attach to something right there. So you can kind of see that. So it looks like that wire is attaching. But yeah, you have stuff you can hang them with. That's kind of cool. Now I definitely want to get the real figure so that way I can kind of really play with it. That would be awesome. And then of course this bluish effect back here, you can just pop it on back here too as well to get it to do its thing. Right here on the back of this ODM gear thing here, you just kind of pop that underneath, and that you get that effect on there too as well. But that is him in a nutshell with all these accessories. Let's get him out of the way. The stand does its job, then does the job that it's supposed to, is to keep him standing up or flying or whatever you want to do. So let's do this. Let us compare his size and everything else with some other figures that I do have. And here is Figma's Levi Ackerman here with some of my other figures. We got the 5-inch McFarlane Gyu Tomioka. We got the Bandai Ultimates Tanjiro. Even this is much better than this one. 3.75 inch Ahsoka, 6-inch black figure Mando covered in boo-boo. We got Chainsaw Man from the Figma Arts line. We have Anime Heroes Yuji Itadori, McFarlane's Batman, and G2 Starscream from Transformers Legacy. So that is how he scales compared to others. So let us get back together and tell you my final thoughts on this Levi Ackerman wannabe. So my final thoughts on KO Levi Ackerman, the Figma Imposter. There he is. This is probably the pose I'll keep him in. If I keep him, I don't know if I will or not. I definitely want to get the genuine Figma because, I mean, I had fun playing with this. It's really cool, and I think this gives me a good idea of what the genuine Figma figure looks like, and I think it'd be something that I definitely really want to kind of invest in. I already broke it. I broke the ODM gear on the back because I tried to put the little blast effect that it comes with, and so you have to pop it off, and so I popped it off and it broke a little piece off, and then I popped it off and now it's somewhere on my floor. I don't know where it is. So then I was like, oh well, I'll just put the little piece on. That piece is so loose it won't stay on. It won't stay on, and that's the risk you run with KO. Now the pros on a KO, you save lots of money on a replica of a genuine product. That's it. That's it. Everything else, I mean, it feels cheap. The paint job is horrible. The joints and stuff, I mean, they're pretty good. I mean, they've been staying in spot. The hands pop off really easily. These things won't stay up. The stand is okay. It doesn't have the Figma logo and things like that. So on a scale of good, bad, awesome though for this figure, this one's gonna get a bad. This is a bad figure. It'll be in my collection. It'll probably be in the back of my collection, but it's a bad figure. It's not even pretty good or anything like that. It's bad. So my advice to you is avoid the Temu knockoff of the Figma figures and go for the legitimate thing. Now, some of y'all may be like, Jimmy, I just can't afford it. You do you. You know what? I'm not going to tell you one way or the other whether, you know, you should support KO or not support KO, things like that. Because there's knockoffs of everything. Everyone's like, well, you know what? You're stealing from the original manufacturer and things like that. Just remember, you know, there's KO of everything. Like, you're like, oh, you know, that Del Monte corn that I'm eating, you know, that I want to eat, I'm not going to buy that. I'm going to buy the Great Value brand, which is packaged at the same factory, just at a cheaper cost, right? It's like the difference between Cinnamon Toast Crunch and Cinnamon Crunch cereal, or Dr. Thunder, or Mountain Lightning, or Big K Cola, and all those things. Is sometimes you go with the generic knockoff because it's cheaper and it kind of satisfies an itch. And that's what this KO does. It satisfies a little bit of an itch of going, ooh, I really want a Levi Ackerman figure. But I'm like, you know what? If I would have just saved that money, if I would have just saved that $18, $19 and just kind of saved that over and over, in a couple months, I could probably have the Figma version of it, which is a much better figure of it. Even though I don't have it, I just know it is. So good, bad, awesome. It's bad. It is bad. But, you know, it was fun to play with. And I hope I helped you make a decision on going, hey, should I buy it or should I not? Like I said, you do you. If that's all you can afford and you're a real big fan of Attack on Titan, you do you. I'm not going to tell you one way or the other on what to do or what your morals should be. But this was an experiment for you all to see what a Temu KO Figma figure is like. And so hopefully you got that and you're well informed. So tune in next week, because we're not going to be in the world of anime next week. We're going to go somewhere different, where some of y'all are like, where's Star Wars? And we may head to a galaxy far, far away. But y'all remember, stay young, have fun, and be awesome. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye now.